Welcome to those who are already on YouTube with us. I see we've got about 122 watching. I'm assuming we're going to have a few more with an expected class of over 300 sixth graders next year. So I'm going to give it just a few more minutes for everybody to find us on YouTube Live, and then we will get started.
I'll try to change my name here, shouldn't I?
Good to see you, Emily.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I see the numbers are climbing up there on our YouTube, and we want to go ahead and get started and honor your time tonight. I'm Principal Christine Donnelly here at Mesa Verde Middle School. Just to tell you, this is my first year here at Mesa Verde as principal. However, I was a parent of 3 students who came through here over the last few years, and my youngest is actually at Westview still. I have 2 out of school and 1 still at Westview as a junior. For my first year at a school, it's been quite the year. I think the year of COVID, everything feels like it's about 10 times as long with 10 times as much work. So the cool thing about being here is during the COVID, we had to really look at all of our systems. And by looking at all of our systems, I got to know all the systems because we had to adjust everything to make it work for students on campus. The other people, our administrative team here at Mesa Verde Middle School, you'll get to know while your child is here at Eagle Country. Assistant Principal Melanie Brown, Assistant Principal Dennis Panganiban. We have 3 school counselors, Lisa Marcotte, Brooke Snow, and Beth Hubbard. Beth Hubbard is here half-time, and they're here to support our students. So through tonight, we're going to go ahead and try our best to keep this seamless, but go ahead and give us a little grace. Sometimes streaming live can be pretty tricky. So let's go ahead and get started and click on to the next slide. So like I said, welcome, and our agenda for tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about our school, some of the expectations, what students can look forward to experiencing here at Mesa Verde. We are going to talk to some of our PTSA and foundation representatives. We're going to go over school culture, what 6th grade looks like, core classes, electives, PE, of course. How does counseling support the students, including getting ready to select electives for their 6th grade year? We also have a before and after school program here at Mesa Verde, and that coordinator is here to talk a little bit about ACEs tonight. And of course, people always ask questions about the one-to-one program and students with cell phones. So let's go to the next slide. So for this one, Mr. Panganiban is one of our assistant principals here at Mesa Verde, and he's going to go ahead and take us through the next few slides.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We do ask that you hold your questions until the end. We will answer most of these through the presentation. We will have a Google form for you to fill out if you have any questions after, and it's posted on the front of our website. Okay, so our chat in YouTube should be turned off. If it is not, please be mindful that we can't respond to that. And don't use chat, and please don't answer questions there, as we can capture all your curious questions after the presentation via the Google Forms. That way we can get the most current information out to you. Okay. And okay. All right. So for our first day is planned for Wednesday, August 18, 2021 for the 2021-2022 school year. Please be mindful that, okay, forget all these other things that you've heard in the last year or so. This is our traditional school year presentation. I know that the district has sent out just some recent information about choices for next year, but this is information current to our MVMS on-campus learning, okay? Ms. Dawn?
That's me. So equity at Mesa Verde and throughout Poway Unified is very important to us. This year, with the events of last summer, it's really brought into the light how much work we still have to do. And that work is around making sure that every student feels like they are welcome on our campus, that every family feels that they are welcome on our campus. So we as a site are committed to that work. And how do we do that? Well, we also have No Place for Hate lessons, and we are a No Place for Hate school, and that's connected to the ADL. And several times a year, the whole school will get lessons related to anti-bias training, looking at microaggressions and how that impacts how we talk to others, and how sometimes things that we could say as a joke are not a joke. What we've really learned from listening to the student voices this last year is that things that might seem like a small incident to some really stick with a child, sometimes for decades. And so that means we have to be very cautious about how do we speak to each other and just laugh it off as a joke, and making sure kids know that we don't want to turn them into tattletales, but we want to be here to listen to them and help them navigate friendships. And we want to go ahead and take time to educate students who might not be as sensitive as they should be, and how can they really relate to others and make everyone feel welcome. This year, we've had the opportunity with our asynchronous days on Fridays to take advantage of that and to go ahead and train all of our staff together. And that's been very powerful, that every staff member, custodians, teachers, office staff, get to come together and work together in breakout rooms about recognizing racism, how to be dedicated to equity on our campus, and how to interrupt things that they might see or hear happening in the hallways. So we know our students aren't typically intentionally cruel, but we want to make sure that we help them and support them in learning how to support each other on campus. And that brings us to the next slide. So we do have a very active PTSA here at Mesa Verde Middle School. The S gets added at secondary because students are also part of the association. Tonight joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and mute myself in a second, we have James Simmons, our president, and parliamentarian Jennifer Antonon, and they're going to go over and get some information out to you about our PTSA.
Hello, everyone. And as the current president, I want to tell you a little bit about the PTSA, being established in 1993 here at Mesa Verde. And our current membership is at 270. Our parliamentarian, Jennifer, as Christine said, has some information on that and our activities that include the dine outs. So many things, half of these have been really limited and not existed this year due to the COVID, but other things we are still accomplishing, and mainly the memberships, and I'll let Jennifer speak a little bit to that right here.
Yeah, thanks, James. As James mentioned, established in 1993, right? So we've got our 30th anniversary of our PTSA, or your PTSA, coming up very soon. So in the next couple of years, your kids will be here. I'm sure that we're going to put on a great celebration for our teachers, our staff, our students, and for our parents. So keep an eye open for that in the next couple of years. PTSA membership, as James also mentioned, at 270, which is a great number, especially, you know, in light of the COVID situation and the challenges that we've had to face. But we do have 1,000 students on campus. So we would like to see that membership number go up, right? We would like to see some more activity there. We're supporting a lot of things with those funds. You know, some of them are listed there. And yeah, I see you joining PTSA. So if we can go right to the next slide, Dennis. I hope you see yourselves joining too. Let me tell you how to do it. You can join PTSA for as little as $12, which I think is lower than some of your elementary school PTA fees, right? It's really easy to do. You can do it online. Obviously, we'll take additional donations if you have those to contribute. If you have that, we'll definitely take that. But just your membership alone really does help us. And there are a few different ways that you can contribute and add to our PTSA. And we understand that there's not always a one size fits all for everybody. There might be, you know, different things that different people are capable of doing. You know, if you are, if time is something that you have and you're able to donate that, you know, absolutely. You've probably seen some of the requests from the school and from PTSA for volunteers at school now to do check-ins, to help out at various times. Time is a great contribution we'd love to take. Funds are always something we'll take, and supplies. You may have seen the postings how we recently worked as a PTSA to help fill the fridge and fill the break rooms for our wonderful teachers and staff. And, you know, the donations that came from parents of the chips and oh gosh, I'm going to forget, the energy bars, the different things that we were able to put in those break rooms really make a difference to everybody. So, you know, there are lots of different ways. It's just finding the niche and the way that works for you, but we'll accept any and all help we can get. Right now, our PTSA is in need of some real assistance on our board, right? We've got here, I think there are 7 positions open. Good news is we've actually gotten it down to about 5 now. Our website guru and financial secretary positions have been filled, but there are some positions here that are critical to the PTSA and that are required for us to even have a PTSA, including treasurer. So maybe you don't have the financial skills, or maybe you do. If you do, great. We'd love for you to help us out. If you know somebody, you know, feel free to volunteer a grandparent, whoever it may be, that would be willing to come and help us out. We take everybody, and we'd love it, your support. Any questions you have, you know, please send us an email. We'll share that out. Maybe I can work with Mrs. Donnelly to get that shared out after the presentation today. But, you know, these are critical to us keeping our PTSA active. And that goes back to that previous slide around, you know, promotion and history fair and 6th grade Olympics and, you know, volunteer needs and Red Ribbon Week and Scholastic Book Fair. All of those things, they do require us, you know, to have these positions filled. So, you know, please consider getting involved. If you can go to that next slide for me, Dennis, just to kind of give a quick wrap up, and then I'll kick it back to James in case you want to add anything. But, you know, this was, I found this meme when I was going through, and I thought this was perfect because everybody always says, okay, oh, so-and-so will do it. So-and-so will take care of it. Or everyone thinks that the parent next to them or someone else that they know will be the one that volunteers. And it seems so that when we get to middle school, there's kind of a misconception that we don't need as many volunteers or we don't need as much support as given in the elementary school. But the truth is we really do. So please consider us. Please consider jumping in and helping out. And thanks in advance. And looking forward, you know, I had an 8th grader last year off to high school this year and a 6th grader now this year. So Mrs. Donnelly and her team have done a great job, and it's been a wonderful year, actually, in some pretty difficult circumstances.
It sure has.
Want to add anything?
Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, I want to go back a little bit to the programs you mentioned, the dine out nights, things that we really need, those positions like the membership committee, different programs and hospitality, things, staff appreciation, things that we plan on coming back. gangbusters next year when we can actually perhaps have some interactions and show up on campus and deliver things for the teachers, for the students, and really do as much as we can to make the environment for the students better. One program was the Reflections program that's been going on for 50 plus years. And that is just something that's nationwide program. And we just had some recent winners here go up to district and win again. And that's categories of dance choreography, film, literature, photography, visual arts, and music composition. Last year's thing was I Matter Because, and the students were able to work on something. Next year's topic's been, it just dropped out of my head what next year's phrase is, but it's starting already for next year. So students can work on it, that they're questioning it all summer long. But yes, looking for memberships and hoping that we can get some people come in here and volunteer to help out with the PTSA and become members and come to our meetings. Definitely, everybody's welcome every month. First Wednesday, 6:30. Yeah. All right. And that is it. Back to Christine. Thank you, Principal.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And you know, PTSA, it looks a little different, like they said, than elementary school, but there's always room for help. And we certainly appreciate it. Not only do we have an active PTSA on campus, we also have the Educational Foundation for Mesa Verde Middle School. So let's go ahead and click to the next slide. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce President Mark Rowland of our Mesa Verde Middle School Foundation.
Thanks everybody for coming. It's exciting times. Hopefully next year is a bit more normal than this last year. I don't want to take too much time because I know there's more pressing things that you want to know about other than the foundation. But honestly, it's nothing more than what you've seen at the elementary schools. It's just a continuation. I think a lot of people, as Jennifer mentioned, a lot of people just assume that once they hit middle school, you just they get on the bus and you're free. But you know, we still have needs. We still have things that the administration needs that's not funded by the district, by the state. And you know, our classic comment is that a public education is free, but an enriched education is not. So, you know, we want to give our kids and our community the best education out there, and we just look for any and all help we can get. And my only advice is get involved, because that's the way you're going to find out what's going on, because you'll find when your kid gets off the bus and you go, hey, how was school today? All you're going to get is fine. But when you talk to the teachers and you talk to the principal and you talk to the administration and you talk to other parents, you know what's going on in the community and you know what's going on in the school. So it's a great way to be involved in the school. And we're looking for people to help out, just as the PTSA is. And that's my only request is you get involved, be engaged, and you know, find something that suits your talent. And whether that's PTSA or foundation or whatever that might be, just get involved and enjoy it. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mark, appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, next up is Mr. Panganiban, and you're going to learn how to pronounce that name if you're not already a Mesa Verde family. Mr. Panganiban is our assistant principal, and he's going to go over some of the different aspects of campus life. These are the nitty-gritty questions that a lot of people have as we transition from a single school classroom elementary into a robust middle school transitional type schedule. So Dennis, you're up.
All right, good evening again, parents. So going back to August 18, you'll notice here at our traditional bell schedule, we do have a daily bell schedule where school starts at 8:27 and our release time is at 3:15. Wednesday is a professional time day where staff and we have meetings and stuff like that. We start at 9:25. So that's kind of what we call our late start day. So please be mindful of this. August 18, that target date for reopening is Wednesday. So that's a late start day, which will help everybody out. Your kids will not be used to this, but they'll be moving around more throughout the day. It's not where subjects are just kind of changing within the classroom, but they'll be going to different teachers throughout the day. So this is a big change for them, something that they'll really get used to. And they're pretty good about getting to classes and everything. And in 6th grade, it's a little different where we're a little bit more helpful, and they don't really have to move around that much as far as proximity wise. I think the farthest they'll have to go is to the gym. Okay, so please note again, this is a traditional school schedule. Our access to the campus every morning is at 7:40 a.m. except for Wednesdays when it's a late start day. It will be at 8:40 a.m. So students can come in onto campus at that time, but we do have them wait in the lunch area because that'll be our supervised area. And at 8 o'clock, then they can head down to the villages on regular days, and on Wednesdays and late start day, it's at 9. Okay. Okay. So a few things actually in regard to what your kid needs to get used to here. We do have Eagle agendas. There are planners. It notes all of our campus expectations for our students. So please review that. If you want to take a peek, those of you that are new, we do have those, the digital copy online. So it should be pretty similar next year. We'll make revisions and everything prior to that, but it is online. If you review that with your child, that'd be great. Teachers use this as well to help kids organize their homework in the agenda. So it's a way to have them write homework, kind of show a little bit of accountability and remembering their homework and organizing assignments. Morning routine, make sure that your kid is aware of their pickup and drop off situation, however that may be. Either you're picking them up or they're, carpooling, or they're riding or walking to school. Just be mindful of that. And let them know. Sometimes we do find kids who sometimes, will forget, if they're getting picked up or whatnot. So we'll help them and have them make a call to parents and what. We do have a bike and skateboard racks available. The bike rack is on the side here near our admin parking lot, and then we do have a new skateboard rack that is within the campus that kids can lock their skateboards in. Please make sure that they bring a lock and wear their helmet. Not just bring their helmet, but wear their helmet on the way to and from school. If they're doing any of those, especially riding the bike, a big change from elementary is that they are not required to have a permission slip signed. So just be mindful and please make sure that they lock their bikes in there in the bike rack area. We do not have any general lockers for kids to use, so they do carry their stuff. Make sure that please be mindful of their belongings throughout the day. Make sure that they, they're not just leaving it somewhere or whatnot. I'll often pick up, they're really strategic about leaving things, especially like band stuff sometimes, on their route to their next class. And sometimes we'll pick them up and just turn them in and whatnot. Go through their backpack, I would say weekly, and make sure that they're planning their day or their week wisely. Sometimes there are books that they don't really need and materials that they don't need to bring daily. So it weighs down on them. And that's something that you can really help with, having them get used to just kind of organizing their day. Dressing for success. We do have a current expectations policy for the dress code, but we are reviewing it currently with a team of parents and staff members. And then any updates that we'll have will be relayed to you guys. We do have spirit days, ways to get kids involved. ASB puts it out, leadership puts it out. There's usually dress up days. There's activities at lunch that are tied to those. So make sure your kids are mindful and just kind of like, be aware of, say, hey, is there a spirit day this week or whatnot? That's always out there for them. Clubs. We do have clubs on campus. Formation of clubs formally are run through ASB. And there is a formal process to it. You'd present it to ASB and they would go through. So we feel like we have a pretty good system for it. And students can always propose new clubs as they come up with their interests. Positive peer interactions. If students have any concerns at all, we do want to say that their first line of advocacy is with their teacher. And remember that, and remind them that every adult here on campus is here to help them. I know sometimes it's hard to have them go to the office or check with admin or even the counseling center. The counseling center has counselors available that they can help with. But please remind them that every adult's here to help them, and we can help kind of figure out, how to problem solve if there's any conflicts with anyone and whatnot. So remember, the Eagle Center is open and admin is there, and please, hi, don't forget our administration is here for you guys. So it's a little bit difficult just by title alone, but we're here to help. Lunch. So this is usually a question that a lot of parents have around lunch. 6th graders eat with half of the 7th graders. Just so you parents know, that shouldn't be, a problem or whatnot. There are different lunch options for kids. There's everything from full meals to a la carte items. We do ask parents, like, here's a mindful tip. If you have them on an account or whatnot, please monitor that account. They're learning a little bit of independence. And sometimes that comes with a price. So if they're getting 3 or 4 cookies a day, you might want to kind of, bring it up with them and just say, hey, I don't think you need 3 or 4 cookies a day. If you ever run into a bind and just kind of want to sort of regulate, you can work directly with food and nutrition, and they can help you kind of problem solve. I just need my kid to have a full lunch or, 1 or 2 a la carte items per day, but you'd work with them directly and they can help you out with that. Okay. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing anything here. School culture. So just want to share a quick story real quick. Just in regard to the whole, everyone's coming from at least four different elementary schools. Just last week, I was so just happy to come across 3 young ladies at lunch, and they were kind of walking around and they were, kind of touring themselves. Like, I think over here is the lunch area and over there is the library. So I approached them and I just introduced myself and kind of knew who I was, and I asked them their names. And then I just said, what schools are you guys from? And they were all from 3 different schools. What just great camaraderie coming in. And so being mindful of that, you want to know that, hey, they are coming from different elementary schools, but they are now Eagles. So that's something just to be proud of in itself. Okay. So I will be covering this for Mrs. Brown. This is in regard to digital citizenship. Everyone should have a Chromebook issued to them. The reason why we have these Chromebooks issued to them is that we do have some filtering software on there. And we don't want you guys to have your home laptops here. They're expensive, or Chromebooks or tablets or anything on our campus, just because they're expensive. And we do have devices for them. So just be mindful of that. These devices are, pretty much part of their daily curriculum. I think that, we know that Google is pretty much the, Google and Zoom right now, but Google has a lot of interactive tools for teachers and kids that they use. And so just Google Docs alone is so collaborative. So that's part of their day. Digital citizenship just in general comes with responsibility. So we are dedicated to making sure that the kids understand pretty much the basics. And we do have lessons from PSD that we share with students throughout the year. And the 3 topics of there are cyberbullying, digital responsibility, and internet safety. Now, some parents may, especially when it comes to cell phones and whatnot, maybe a little bit more apprehensive about, having their kids given that big responsibility. Know that, especially on our devices and everything, we do share these tools and these instruction for them, so that they understand basically how to be good model citizens with the use of technology. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to email admin directly. We've kind of had a lot of experience just with this, and so we can share tips and tricks, and you can always say, no, you don't really need it if you don't really think they need to. Okay, becomes sometimes a distraction, But know that we are dedicated to making sure that our kids know that, digital footprint is out there for them. And so we're going to do our best, very best to make sure that they learn the right way. Okay. With that in mind, our device policy, I won't read it to you verbatim, but in regard to any other devices, games, game systems, portable game systems and whatnot, we really can't have the kids have them out during class. And our frame of reference is basically that they can't have it unless they're under the direction of a supervised person through an adult. Okay. So at lunch, there's no devices at all that can be out. This is specifically in regard to cell phones. If it is confiscated, so what will happen is our campus supervisors are very mindful and they share some grace and just reminding kids of the policy. If they can't remember, it will be confiscated and turned into the office. The first time we can give it back to them, and then we'll document it and we'll share with the kid, hey, do you remember the device policy? Once they get on campus, they should be putting it away and turning it off. The second time, parents have to come get it. And I always share with the kids every year that the third time, usually parents don't want to give it back to them. And they'll just say, hey, they can't really, they're not being responsible. Leave it in there till the next break. So just be mindful, again, going back to the use of social media and text messaging. It is a huge responsibility that sometimes becomes a distraction for kids. So if you ever have any questions around it, please feel free to contact us. But our device policy is in our Eagle agenda. So that is available online as well. Okay. All right. So in regard to our library after school, our library will be open for about 30 minutes. And kids during that time can print or they can check out books right before they go home. We do ask after that, students basically can't hang out on campus. They need to be in a supervised activity. If they're not in a supervised activity, they're basically asked to go up to the front circle, which is around our admin up here, our admin building, and to wait for either somebody to pick them up or, they made arrangements to, walk home. There is an activity bus that leaves every day, Monday through Thursday. So at 4:20-ish, the late bus, if your kid is in an after school club or an activity and they need a way home, they do need to know their route. But they can use the bus, and basically if they're not a regular bus driver, they do have to pay for the bus ride. Okay. In regard to after school as well, Miss Allison Baker, she'll go over ACEs later on in the presentation. And I think I've covered everything there. So going to the next slide. And here's Mrs. Tran, who will talk about basic 6th grade overview for everyone.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Shawn Tran. I'm one of the 6th grade teachers. So just to kind of go over what the village concept is. So we have within the way our school is set up, the 6th grade has their own area. It's really nice because it's a separate wing. Majority of their classes will be there. Really, there's only PE and a couple of electives that they may go to outside of the 6th grade village. Within the content area teachers, we work many times as either a team or we work within our content area. We, as a team, we're able to really work on the social emotional needs of the students, plus in addition, obviously, to their academic needs. Each teacher will also have a homeroom teacher. And so that teacher is the primary contact that you'll have. So for example, I have a couple different classes that are my homerooms. And so if you have just a general question about 6th grade or grades or how to access any of the online tools, you would contact your child's homeroom teacher. And then if you have any questions specifically about a class, like a math class or a science class, that's when you would go to contact that specific teacher for the content areas. So a typical 6th grade schedule, the academic classes that your child would have would be language arts and literature. These are 2 separate periods. They also are going to have a social studies class, and that's an everyday class. They'll have a math class, science, and then also PE. And then the one additional thing that they will have is an elective. And so they'll choose one of these electives. So we have band, orchestra, chorus, leadership, exploratory, and then we also additionally have some support classes. So this would be a typical schedule for one of your 6th grades, for your 6th grade student. So our 6th grade system in terms of grades, we are on a quarter system at Mesa Verde. So we have 4 quarters. About halfway through each quarter, we send home a progress note. So that's just a way for you to kind of follow up, make sure your child's making good progress towards the end of the quarter, which is when the final grades come out. At the end of each quarter, there is a report card that's sent home. So you can also access it digitally. And then students are assigned letter grades in middle school. So the homework grades, and so one thing you're going to become very familiar with is Synergy. Synergy is how all of the teachers post their grades. We, at the very beginning of the year, encourage both the students and the parents to download the Synergy app on their phones, or just get very familiar with the Synergy website. You can check your grades, your child's grades constantly. And then also working with your child so that they can check their own grades and they can start to take on some of the independence that a middle schooler needs to have. The one grade or one class that is not a letter grade class is the 6th grade elective. In 6th grade, it's credit or no credit for that class. It does change to a letter grade when they get into 7th and 8th grade. So a couple unique 6th grade events that we have every year. We have 6th grade camp. Typically, Mesa Verde goes either late April or early May. We get the exact date sometime around, usually around the beginning of the school year. So usually by back to school night, we'll know the exact date. But again, Mesa Verde usually goes towards the spring. We also have our 6th grade Olympics, which is hosted by the PE department, and that's usually somewhere between mid to late May as well. And so both of those events are really unique for 6th graders. It's something they look forward to. When I talk to my previous 6th grade students, when they're in 7th grade and 8th grade in high school, those are the 2 things that they say they remember most about 6th grade. So we really like to encourage students to get involved in both of those because those are memorable events. Okay, and so now Coach Kokenis will talk more about PE.
Hi, welcome this evening. I would have to say in all the years I've been teaching at Mesa Verde, 6th grade Olympics is a highlight. And it's a really neat unit that we do in the late spring, and we team up with our 6th grade teachers to make it one of those memorable experiences. I happen to be one of 4 teachers that teach PE at Mesa Verde. So we are looking forward to having your children join us come this August. Something new that is unlike elementary school is your child will come, like Mrs. Tran said, each and every day to have an active PE class. So the students do get used to it. Some of them a little bit quicker than others, but we really try to make our PE experience for the students fun and enjoyable with a variety of activities. So not only do we have the students rotate about every 5 to 6 weeks through different activities, but we also try to engage them with something different each day of the week. So we kind of pick a theme. So Mondays, you will know shortly, are our cardio or run days. So students, takes a little bit more motivating to get them out there and do that, but we really emphasize that it's good for their hearts, gets that cardiovascular fitness. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays with our unit or sport activities, as you see on the screen. So students will engage in some jump rope, kickball, cone ball. So it's a striking, hand-eye, eye-foot coordination. We will have the students introduced to volley tennis and paddle ball. We do a summer games unit towards the end. So after we have that big culminating track event for 6th grade Olympics, we do a summer games unit. And then throughout the school year, we create lifetime fitness activities. So as I was saying, our Tuesdays and Thursdays are activity days. Our Wednesdays we call with our late start day a workout Wednesday, and our Fridays are a fun Friday. So we do a fun cooperative activity with the students. Our track and field, when we're talking about volunteers, that's a great way to come out and volunteer that day, as well as see your child compete in field events as well as track events. So we spend a good portion of our fourth quarter teaching the students different events. They get to sign up for events, and then we have a big track meet at the end of the year that takes place within the school day. So if you're looking for a fun way to get out and volunteer, that would be ideal. We, for our sixth graders, we try to keep those units very skill-based, knowing that they all come to us with different backgrounds and different levels of experience with outside exposure to sports. So we build upon that, and then they have that experience a little bit different in 7th and 8th grade. So 6th grade is a little bit more skill-based. 7th and 8th grade, we look at that team-based with more sports and teams. So that's a little bit about our curriculum. Now, another big piece to 6th grade when you come to PE is we do have locker rooms available for students so that they can change and be comfortable in their PE clothing and attire. So what they wear to school will be different what they participate in PE in. So students will be asked to have a PE shirt and shorts. Both are very comfortable. We all look the same out there. We have the students write their names on it. Two things. 6th graders have a tendency, and it's not just 6th grade, it's really all grade levels. 7th and 8th graders do this as well, is they may misplace their items. And so if their name is on them, we can quickly get them back to them. We also, it helps us learn students' names. We have quite a few students, but I like to say that I really pride myself in trying to know each and every student within the first month of school. I think they like it, and I always have a lot of siblings come through. Now, it's not to say that students are forgetful. We're all forgetful at some point. And if a student does forget their PE clothing, believe it or not, we have a washer and dryer on our premises where we can wash clothes that we loan out to students so that they're able to participate in PE for that day. Another good thing to have for your child in PE, coming or just keeping them in their locker, is a comfortable pair of athletic shoes. So students will be learning a sense of responsibility by maintaining a locker for themselves during their PE period. They will have a lock. We'll ask them to lock up their belongings, their PE clothes at the end of the PE period, and it is a locker that they will have just for themselves all year long. So we're teaching them responsibility as well. Another big item, and every Friday, definitely you want to check in with your child when you're looking through that backpack to see what happened during the week. You want to make sure they've brought their PE clothes home. That's another big thing we want to encourage them to do. There will be times in the winter it will get cold, so they can always have extra sweatshirts or sweatpants so that they can keep warm during PE. Sometimes students will buy an extra set just to have, so they'll have one at school, one at home, and they bring them back and forth. So we encourage that. It's not necessary. Students, like I said, will be assigned at the beginning of the school year to their own locker just for themselves. They will have a lock on it. And one thing that we do ask is the students purchase the lock through our PE program or department. And it really works as an emergency kind of way to help the students if they need it. We all have a key that we use on an as-needed basis. And if the students happen to forget their combination over, say, a long weekend or a vacation, we can help them by looking up their locker combinations. So we're really, as a team of 4, helping all students that come to us in PE, and we really want to make their experience and their transition a good one into 6th grade. So we look forward to seeing them in August, and we're going to get them out and moving and creating those lifetime healthy habits. So thank you. And I believe Mr. P, our band director, is up next.
Jay's probably listening to some music. Mr. Pastorero, are you there?
No, I just didn't unmute. I was going to say, you want to play a little of that video first? Thanks. Oh, there we go. All over. It's all good. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Jay Posteraro. I'm the band director here at Mesa Verde, and you just were listening to sixth graders that are now eighth graders. And we were doing a little concert in the band room, getting ready for a festival they were going to perform. And I thought it'd be fun for you to see what it looks like in the band room when we're full and ready to go. Unlike this year, a little bit different, but we're getting through. I'm here to talk a little bit about our 3 different performing arts that students can sign up for. I am the band director, so students would have me for band. All of the wind instruments, okay, if they're putting air through their instrument, that's band or percussion. And then we have orchestra with Mrs. Patty Puckett. And again, that's the strings, all right, because a lot of times they call in 5th grade, they just call it band. And so there is a difference between band and orchestra. And then we also have a choir, which is directed and taught by Mrs. Milling. So we have 3 different performing arts that students can be involved with. Students will have the class every day. And if you think about how things were this year in 5th grade for music, I can speak for my wife, Mrs. Posteraro, at the school she teaches. You know, listening to her downstairs, I am amazed what some of these kids have been able to do with not having any hands-on teaching and learning how to play an instrument from scratch. I hear her unmute the kids and it's like, wow, they're getting it. And it's really amazing. And if they're getting everyday music, think about the improvement that they are going to make in a very, very short amount of time. And they haven't had the opportunity to play in groups this year. And so this will be a chance for them to have an experience that they haven't had yet, which is a critical part of the whole band experience or orchestra or choir experience, is to be with a group. That's been the one thing that I've missed, is having the kids in class and just being there and feeding off their energy and them feeding off of mine. And so we really are encouraging you to at least try us out. I always say, hey, give us a couple weeks, come in and check it out, see what you think. You know, keep that instrument warmed up over the summertime and come and check it out. So I think it would be a really neat thing for you to try. We also have other groups that are involved. We have jazz band, we have other special groups that kids can be involved with. And so it's just going to be a great year. We're looking forward to having you. And if you have any questions about music, you can feel free to email me anytime you wish. So I do believe, I think math is up next, maybe, Mr. Pratt. Is that true? I am right. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, Jay. Hi, my name is Chris Pratt. I'm part of the mathematics team. We are a team ranging from 6th grade all the way up to integrated. So when your students are coming to Mesa Verde, we do have a vertically articulated team meeting all the aligned standards to the California State Common Core state standards. And there are 2 pathways. Right now we're at the point where students coming from 5th to 6th. There's 2 pathways. One is going the route of Math 6 to Math 7 to Math 8. And that's the typical pathway that students are making, but there is a fast track. Note that no curriculum is being skipped. Students are coming from 5th grade to be either in Math 6 or they're placed in the compacted Math 6-7 track. And that's not a combination of 6th and 7th graders. What it is it's just the same curriculum that everyone takes in middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th, but they're seeing all of Math 6 and half of Math 7 their 6th grade year. And as a 7th grader, they'll see the remainder of 7th and then complete all of 8th. And finally, as an 8th grader, they will then have Math 1. That's the high school integrated math. So things have had to change based on kind of assessments that we're able to provide to our students. We're not doing maps. We are looking at iReady. So for a student to be placed into the compacted 6-7, or what we say kind of the fast track, there's no single measure that's going to be automatically placing them. So it's going to be a combination of looking at maybe looking at their 5th grade trimester 2 progress report, considering their 5th grade iReady diagnostic test, and looking at this new diagnostic that we did this past year is the MDTP. So it's the Math Diagnostic Testing Project done by UCSD. This is required for any 5th grader who wishes to be considered for the 6-7. So there will be a parent letter that's going to be going out at the beginning of April. Some of the dates are being finalized, but it will go out as a Connect Ed, and any parent who wishes to have their child explore the Math 6-7 track to the 7-8 to the compacted, or it's called the compacted track, will have a chance to fill out a form stating that. And then the district testing department will basically get a hold of parents for when that actual test will take place, which it's somewhere going to be in the early portions of June, but the exact testing dates still have to be worked out across the district.
Mr. Pratt, I have a quick question. So if a child does the traditional path, the Math 6, Math 7, Math 8, can they still take the AP courses in high school and test really high and take that on to the university level?
Of course, yes. Taking both these pathways still gets you to the AP mathematical courses.
Okay, so the compacted is really taking 3 years of math and doing it in 2 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're not skipping curriculum. It's the same curriculum. It just goes at a faster pace.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Next up, we have our before and after school program. That is a free program for those of you who've been paying for ESS. So Allison Baker is our ACES supervisor here at Mesa Verde Middle School. And this is actually, I had a lot to do with ACES at Middlebrook years ago. So I'm very familiar with the program, and Allison does an excellent job.
So good evening. My name is Allison. I am the ACES site supervisor. We have a team of 6 that are part of our ACES programs. We have a before school and after school program that's offered every single day. So Mr. Panganiban had earlier talked about the times that students can be brought onto campus. If they're part of the ACES before school program, we start every day at 6:30. And we are open after school from school dismissal until 6:15 p.m. every single night. Now, the thing about ACES is that it is a grant funded program, so it's free to parents, but we always say that instead of paying with money, you pay with time. So we expect that students that are enrolled in ACES to attend 5 days a week, every single day. And there are some time restrictions on when students must arrive by and when students must stay until in order for us to count their attendance for the day and to be in compliance with our grant. The enrollment for next year, the 21-22 school year, is going to be done online this year through the San Diego County Office of Ed. They have a special portal set up. So interested families will need to complete a survey that is linked on the ACES page of the Mesa Verde School website. I believe it also was sent out to all of your school admins for your elementary schools. So a lot of the questions that I typically get are, what does a typical day at ACES look like? And if you're in the before school program, we feed students every morning that they attend the ACES before school program. We give them activities that are planned by staff based on their interests. And then they also have opportunities to just hang out and chat with each other, maybe wake up if they're still sleepy because it's been an early morning. In the after school program, they get a snack again after school. We have an hour of what we call our academic hour, which is where students can work on homework with peers. Staff are available to maybe offer some help if necessary for understanding their homework assignments or completing their work. And then after that, we have enrichment programs. And those enrichment programs are different activities that our staff have planned and lead with students based on their interests. And so the nice thing about middle school students is we give them choice. We give them a full list of activities. They get to pick which activity they want to go to. They go to that activity that day. And one of the things that I also always try to emphasize is that we make decisions and we plan things based on what we think students will like. And we have some historic data that suggests that they like kind of the same repeating activities, but we're always open to new suggestions and ideas from students. So we want to know what students like and we want to plan things for students that they like. And I'm really excited because next year we're going to start a 3D printing club. We got some new 3D printers that our staff are going to lead alongside students. So that's a really cool hands-on tech thing that is new for the next year.
Thank you, Allison. Before we jump right into our last section of the night, which is our counseling and especially some directions on how to help your children pick their elective for next year. I feel bad because we're running a little late, but then I remember you're not sitting on hard bleachers. You can get up and use the restroom whenever you want, and you can kick up your feet. So we're going to keep moving on along a little bit. Okay. So next up is our fabulous counseling department.
Hi there, I'm Mrs. Marcotte. I'm one of the counselors. And so something that's a little different for Mesa Verde from elementary school is that we have counselors on campus 5 days a week. So we have myself, I work with families with last names A through LI. We have Mrs. Snow, you'll hear from in a moment, and she works with families with last names LL through Z. We are both here on campus 5 days a week. In addition, we have Mrs. Hubbard. So she's on our campus 50%. We share her with another school site. We also have Mrs. Wright, and she is our student services specialist. And we are all located in the Eagle Center, which is outside of our main office in a 300 wing. And it's right near our lunch area where students kind of hang out. So they have access to us at lunch as well. In counseling, we work under 3 main domains. We support students with social emotional learning. We support students with academic supports and interventions. And then we also dive into middle school with college and career. We love doing that. A lot of times it's more so when students are in 7th and 8th grade, but we do some fun things with them to kind of start their interests. Perfect. Mr. P. And here's Mrs. Snow.
I'm Brooke Snow. I'll try to be brief, but I do get very excited about all of our programs. So I'll try to do a quick rundown of the services that we offer for students. So as Mrs. Marcotte said, the counselors are located in the Eagle Center. This is the Eagle Center behind me here. It's kind of a classroom-sized space that's open for students, and that's where our 3 counselors and our student services specialist are located. It's really like a student-centered room or facility, and we are open during lunchtime for students to come in. They can play a game or a quiet activity, talk with their friends, work on homework, or come in and speak with us if they want to. The counselors are available for one-on-one counseling for students, so students can self-refer. Sometimes we work with parents who might need some encouragement with a student talking to the counselor, or teachers sometimes will refer students to us, but students can meet with their counselor one-on-one here at school. It's usually for a brief intervention. We kind of problem solve, see what's going on, come up with a plan, and if we feel like the student needs more support, then we work with the family on what those next steps are. Sometimes we are able to do small groups of students. That could be for an academic skill or need, or that could be a social emotional need, but we love to do small groups of students throughout the school year. And we especially love to do classroom lessons. We have been really lucky the past couple of years to do a series of lessons with 6th grade. And that's usually about a 6-week program where we do social emotional lessons in each of the 6th grade classrooms, and that gives us a chance to really get to know those students and build rapport with them as 6th graders. We also do sometimes Red Ribbon Week lessons, the career exploration lessons Mrs. Marcotte mentioned. And then we're really involved with school-wide programs. So social emotional learning, you might have been hearing about with your elementary schools. And for us, that looks like weekly activities. Maybe we're doing a s'more newsletter right now with weekly activities for students. Sometimes we put activities out on our MVMS School Counseling Canvas page. We send things out through the Friday Eagle newsletter. Teachers might be doing some social emotional learning activities in the classroom. There might be lunch activities. So we're kind of incorporating social emotional learning through the academic curriculum as well, not just as a separate counseling lesson. And then we do kind of coordinate and facilitate the No Place for Hate program here at Mesa Verde. And our No Place for Hate committee has students and staff, teachers, and also classified staff On our committee, we do 3 lessons or activities a year, in addition to other themes and things that come out throughout the school year. But we are looking for that student voice always every year on the No Place for Hate committee. We do like to do parent education. Typically in a regular school year, an in-person school year, we would have coffee with the counselors sessions here on campus, where we would maybe talk about how to help manage your child's stress and anxiety or executive functioning skills. Right now, we're sending out a lot of resources through the Eagle News on Friday. So look for that. And also we have links on our regular Mesa Verde website for resources too. You can always reach out to the school counselors if you have any questions or if your student or family needs support. Academic support. So if a student has an academic concern, grades or organization, time management, we can maybe problem solve, come up with a plan, set some goals, check back in. The counselors are kind of the link sometimes between students and teachers if that's needed. As Mrs. Tran mentioned, your student's homeroom teacher should be your #1 go-to kind of for your general questions. But if you feel like your child needs more support, then you can contact the counselor or Mrs. Huppert, our intervention counselor, for academic intervention. And then lastly, we do also provide referrals for behavioral health. If Mrs. Marcotte or myself is working with your student and we feel like they might need a higher level of support, we can refer out. Or if your family has a specific need or there's something going on, we can give you referrals for behavioral health. We do have a 4th member of our Eagle Center team, and that is Mrs. Kaya Wright. She's our student services specialist, and she is also here 5 days a week in the Eagle Center. She is the coordinator for our Club Live Save Promise Club, which meets 2 Wednesdays a month. Right now it's meeting virtually, but next year hopefully back to in person. She also does tobacco use prevention and vaping lessons during the 7th grade year. She helps with our SEL lessons. She also does parent education regarding vaping and tobacco use and kind of provides all kinds of different student supports on campus. Back to Mrs. Marcotte.
Awesome, thanks. So we want to let you know that we created a Google slideshow that is, the audience is supposed to be our 5th grade students, our incoming 6th graders. So I just want to share that link with you. It's also on our website. It was sent out to the 5th grade teachers, and you may have seen it in an email, but if you haven't by chance, definitely take a look at that slideshow. There's videos incorporated in it. It's basically going to tell you a little information about the transition to middle school, how to get involved on campus for your students, where to go for help, and then it's going to give information on electives and course descriptions about those electives. And then we want to kind of be able to help you navigate in Synergy how to input those electives. Before we get to that, right now we're nearing the end, so there is a Google form if you have questions that we were not answering or more specific information that we can help with. You can go to the Google form. You can find it on the homepage of MVMS right now. Perfect. So definitely look at the Google slideshow that I mentioned and do that first so that you get further information about the electives and what 6th grade is like. Then the next step is to watch the course request and go into the course request and input the elective choices. So we want to walk you through a video. This video is also on that Google slideshow I mentioned. It's embedded towards the end. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. We have selections that you can start tonight, and they end March 30th at midnight. That's when we want the students to input, by March 30th at midnight. Hello there, Mrs. Marcotte, one of the Mesa Verde counselors. Welcome 5th grade students and families. We want to welcome you. You're on your way to becoming an Eagle and joining us next year. And we really look forward to you guys becoming a part of our family here at Mesa Verde. So you're thinking about your elective choice for 6th grade, and I want to help you enter that. So we're going to take a look at how we enter into Synergy. You will go to your Synergy on your device, go into the My Plan portal, look for the student portal or student view, and then to the left-hand side, you'll see a tab called Course Request. I'll visually show you what that looks like in a moment. But before we jump into that, you need to think about 3 different courses. You get 1 course, 1 elective for the duration of your 6th grade year. So think about what your first choice is. Then we also want you to think about a second choice, and that is going to be the placeholder for a first alternate. If I can't have my first choice, what is the next best choice for me? We also have you think of a third course, and this acts as the second alternate. I call that the backup to the backup plan. You can start entering courses in Synergy on March 23rd, and you have until Friday, March 30th at midnight. So make sure that you enter by March 30th at midnight. Let's take a look. So here are the elective choices for you as incoming 6th graders. And you'll notice that there are course numbers next to the titles of the courses. You want to enter by utilizing that number. If you are interested in orchestra and you put down orchestra and typed out the title orchestra, it will pull up every orchestra class across Poway, and you will not know which one is specific to Mesa Verde. So make sure you are utilizing the numbers. So you want to jot down 3 numbers. Your first choice, your then first alternate is your second number, and your third number is the second alternate, the backup to the backup. So have those numbers written down, put them aside, and let's jump into the student view. So here we go with student view. You're going to click on the course request on the left-hand side, and then it'll take you to this page. Down here at the bottom is a blue tab. Click here to change course request, and we will click there. Perfect. Now, make sure that all of these boxes are empty. Sometimes your computer might self-generate this box with your ID number. So you might have some number in there. Make sure that you go in and delete that number. We want all of these boxes empty when you start. You want to click on the course ID box. We're not going to be entering anything into the course title box. Don't worry about that box. Just make sure it is clear. You're going to click in the course ID box. If you click on the arrow, you're going to have this drop-down menu. You do not want that. That's just going to get in your way. So make sure you don't click on the arrow and that you click to the right of the arrow in this box here. So let's get started. If my first choice is orchestra, I'm going to put in that course code number, 100550. You do not need to hit enter. Just let it pop up on its own. Sometimes if you hit enter, it doesn't work. So orchestra came up. I'm going to click the add request button. Perfect. That put it right where it needs to be. So I'm going to go back down and let me delete the orchestra course code and the boxes will clear out. So then I start over with my next one. So this is my alternate choice. Let's say my alternate is chorus. Let me enter that number, 107110. Just wait, let it generate. Perfect. This time we're clicking the add alternate button. Click on that. So you'll see that it put chorus into, and it's intermediate chorus, and all of our courses are titled that. So even if you're a beginner, that's exactly the right course that you selected. It's going to put it in the selected alternate course box, right where it needs to be. Let's go back. We want to put in our third number, which is our second alternate. Let it clear out. And maybe that is exploratory. So let me add that number, 106008. Perfect. That generates. I'm going to click on the add alternate button because I want it in the alternate box. And this is how it reads. My first choice is orchestra. My second choice, which is the first alternate, is chorus. And my third, which is the second alternate, is exploratory. Perfect. If I made an error and they're out of sequence or out of order, I can hit remove and I can continue down here and delete and re-enter a number. So know that you have the ability to remove and change things around all the way up until the deadline of March 30th at midnight. So if I'm done, I want to do click here to return to course request summary. And this is just going to give you a summary. Perfect. Double check. Orchestra is my first choice. My first alternate is chorus. My second alternate is exploratory. And you are done. You are done. No other buttons to click. So I want to let you guys know that if you run into any problems, any technical problems with entering into Synergy, Mrs. Snow and myself are hosting Zooms. So we will have a Zoom open on March 26th from 3 to 4. If your last name falls between A through LI, you're going to come into my Zoom. Here's the ID number and the passcode. If your last name is LL through Z, you will be entering Mrs. Snow's Zoom. Her ID number is here and her passcode is here. So remember, this is help one-on-one to help you navigate entering the courses. If you had any difficulty trying it yourself, then come and visit our Zoom. Please wait in the waiting room. We're only going to allow one student at a time so that we can personalize and we can have you share your screen and we can walk you through this. So just wait in the waiting room. If there are a lot of students, you might need to wait a while. Just be patient with us because we're only allowing one in at a time. Perfect. And this is just a reminder, if there is any difficulty entering courses, make sure that if a number automatically appears, delete it. That tends to be one of the first errors that occurs is students don't delete that self-generated number that's populated and they try to enter a code number when there's already a self-generated number. Make sure all those boxes are cleared out. Perfect. We hope you're excited. We look forward to seeing you guys at Mesa Verde. Hello there, Mrs. One of the Mesa Verde counselors. Right. Welcome, 5th grade students.
All right. So thank you to the counselors. The detailed video is very helpful. I did see we do have that Google form open. It's on the website. I really try to make it easy for parents and students to find information that's timely. And so on our website, right on the home page, under announcements for tonight, there's also like a hot link to a Google form. I did see Mrs. Marcotte, somebody put in a question. So for people who are waiting for like an inter-district transfer, they're not going to be able to access this system. So how do they choose their electives if they do get approved for an intra-district transfer?
Great question. Thanks for asking that. Yes, you're not going to be able to go into Synergy and select at this time. Once your transfer request is approved, you'll receive that information from the district. And then Mrs. Weaver, who is our counseling tech, will reach out by email to have you fill out some documents and so forth. And then she'll ask what the elective choices are at that time. You'll email her back and we will input ourselves for you in Synergy.
All right. And so I know we're going to wrap up a little bit here. So there's no more real new information coming. So if you're getting done and you need to log off, you won't hurt my feelings. But I want to go ahead and we have several parents on here from PTA and Foundation and give them a chance as they had listened to the presentation to go ahead and say, ooh, I don't think you covered that, or I wish I knew this before my first kid came to Mesa Verde. So Dennis, go ahead and stop sharing that screen. Great. And so James, Jennifer, who else is in here? Mark's still in here. Do you guys have any thoughts? Jennifer, James?
This is James right now, and I really like the presentations. Right now I'm trying to come up with something and I can't really. My son is now in the 7th grade, and so we just did this a year ago, and there was information I didn't know at that time that
bring your laptop
was covered
so I
this
can
year.
hear? James, I couldn't hear that one. Dennis, did you hear? You got to unmute.
Oh, well,
I heard you,
Um,
James.
Yeah.
okay. Well, then I'll pass on to Jennifer if she has anything, or one of the other members.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would, I'm not sure what questions everybody has or anything, but having had a child go through Mesa Verde mostly in a traditional manner until 8th grade, unfortunately, and having a 6th grader come in this year, you know, I would say there was some really good stuff in here. I would definitely stress, you know, it's heartbreaking for my 6th grader that she's not going to get 6th grade camp or Olympics. Those are really great events. So I might be pressing Mrs. Donnelly for a great and creative way to figure that out for 2021. But you know, there's some really strong and good events that happen. It's really nice. I don't know if you guys covered, you know, the 6th grade village and having that area where it's, you know, the 6th graders really get to, you know, feel a little bit more grown up and feel a little bit more like the older, you know, as the transition out of elementary school, but not feel too intimidated, you know, by having the 8th graders or the kids that are about to head off to high school, you know, right around them. It's a nice transition over. It's a pretty good program at the school. So those are just, you know, some thoughts for me. I don't know if were there any questions for us to answer?
Okay. It is a big campus, and the village concept is really neat, and like the wing. And you know, one thing I want to reassure parents too is especially for your you might hear rumors about, you know, big kids picking on little kids. You know, of the 20, I think it's like 27 years I've done in education now. The great majority, 20 years, has been in middle school. I can tell you when there's a conflict between students, it tends to be at the same grade level. Very rare do you find like 8th graders, you know, to be honest, when you ask your older students, they'll say, you know, I can't be bothered with 6th graders, you know, like they're cute. Like they're not, it's not this conflict thing. So the village helps protect that to a certain degree. But we want the kids to interact with each other. They will get to know 7th grade friends. One piece of advice I give them for parents is, when they're coming from elementary school, their friendships are based on who's in their classroom or neighborhood. And suddenly your child's going to come home and tell you about their new best friend, and they don't even know their last name. And that's just very common at this age. And just ask them questions about them, and they'll tell you who this person is. And usually what you start seeing is, rather than based on geography or who their parents' friends are, kids start choosing based on maybe who's in their elective with them, right? So they realize, oh, we're both in band, we're going to spend a lot of time together. So it's kind of an interesting transition to watch at middle school. So anything else? I want to wrap up the night. I see the Google form is there. So if you want to go ahead and click on that and send some questions in, I'll go ahead and look at those and then make sure that we answer them in an FAQ. Jennifer, did you have something?
This is Donna. Yeah, it seems like the Google form isn't
Dennis,
allowing them to submit questions. It's asking them.
I think
for
you're on mute,
permission
Jen.
to
I can't
submit.
hear you at all.
Can anybody else hear me?
I can hear you, Jennifer.
That's odd. Something
Okay.
happened.
Yeah. But I think the Google form's asking them for permission. They're not able to submit questions through there right now.
I can't hear.
So
The Google
I don't know if you can hear me,
form
Dennis.
is not allowing
Chat
them
it to me,
to
Jen, and I
submit
can see if I can
questions.
read the chat. We lost sound on our end. I'm sorry. That probably means that we've gone too long. I'm so sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna look at
one
the
last
chat real
slide I'm
quick,
going to just
though.
show you real quick, because right now you are POWA parents, which means you have your paper and pencil out and you're like, what do I have to do next? So the big one would be to register for the elective for next year. What's that, Dennis?
You're muted.
You need to show.
Muted,
Thanks.
Mr. P.
All right, so your big to-do list is to take care of that right now with the electives. And then the other piece is really nothing right now. Okay, so after you take care of the electives, you'll get information about the math, the 2 math pathways. That information will come through your 5th grade teacher. You'll get information. I promise you're not going to miss anything as far as that goes. So the last thing really is this summer, later spring, you'll get some information to register as a family at Mesa Verde. It's online, same as you've been doing for the last year or two at the elementary school. So there's that spring registration that's done online where you get to give us your information again as a family. submit your documents. And then until summer, really that's it. So in the summer, we'll do a Where Everybody Belongs, big orientation fun event for the 6th graders, usually a few days before the first day of school. They come, they meet new friends, we do team building. For those of you that remember your college dorm years, it's similar to that fun activity and team building that you did when you went to visit the dorm the first time. So there's a lot of stuff like that going on. And then about a week before school is when we'll do on-site, where you can buy those PE uniforms, join the PTA. The kids will take their pictures with their ID cards and things like that. So really, there's not a lot to do right now. So just know that your to-do list is good, other than helping your child do the elective process. And if you have struggles, like they said, they have those different times that you can get office hours. So I see here that a couple questions about defining, what is the leadership elective? What is exploratory? So leadership elective is really what it sounds like. So it's not an application process. This year, we've decided to open it up so that students who feel like they want to be part of the leadership team on campus, doing some ASB type events, it's not elected. They would work a little bit with the 7th and 8th grade ASB team. They would probably be out at the 6th grade lunch helping to run activities, certainly dances. So all those things, if your kid is a student council / ASB kind of kiddo, that would be the elective for them. And again, if more kids apply than room, then the computer will just randomly select who fits best in their schedule. If you choose band or orchestra, we will make sure you're in band or orchestra. That's our #1 priority. It's nice to have that second elective choice just in case something really happened. But I know Mr. Pastorero is on here. We go above and beyond to make sure kids can get their music elective, because we have more than one section of 6th grade band, so we can put kids in there. The other one is, what's exploratory? So exploratory, I'm working closely with our CTE, that's our Career Technical Education Department, which is amazing in this district. So there's different kinds of ways to look at electives. Electives are this pathway, right? Helping kids explore different types of interests they have. So band and music is a pathway. Doesn't mean they're going to be a professional musician all the time, but they get to explore music, right? And being part of something bigger than the self. I think that's the magic of being in a band or orchestra or choir. The other electives like exploratory will probably be, we're trying to decide right now if it's going to be 2 semesters. So they'll have half the year doing something like art and the other half of the year doing something probably STEM based. Or we might even go to 4 quarters. So right now, the first time doing this as a site, we're just playing with it in our system to see which one can work with the teachers we have and the schedule and things like that. So they'll get a little bit of a couple of things, or maybe 4 things if they choose exploratory. And then some of those exploratories then feed to a 7th and 8th grade course that they would go more in depth, like digital media arts, okay? The other one is, I think that explains exploratory, I think. Almost all the middle schools have a 6th grade exploratory. It's just a chance to try some different things, all right? I see a few other things came in on the responses. Let me see here. The intra-district transfer stuff, yeah, that's all done through the district. I know it's very difficult to wait, but wait, you will. And then once you get the word, then we reach out to you and work with you on your choices, okay? And you don't have to run home tonight and do the elective choices tonight. It's not first come, first serve. Our computer just creates a list. And once we build the schedule, it shuffles kids in, okay? It's a pretty cool system, actually. So let's go ahead and click to the last slide, which is thank you for coming. We really look forward to getting to know your students. I know Mr. Panganiban and Mrs. Brown, she couldn't be here tonight, go out of their way for the students. And, assistant principals have to do discipline sometimes, but really it's about getting a chance to talk to the kids and learning from our mistakes and coaching and restorative justice and stuff. Middle school is different than probably when you were in middle school, and we're getting better and better at it. I think all the equity work we're doing as a district and as a site is really making it special for kids. So we're excited to get to know you if you're new to Mesa Verde, and we're certainly excited to meet your 6th grader this summer when we see them at our Welcome Everybody, Where Everybody Belongs orientation, and throughout the next 3 years as an Eagle here at Mesa Verde. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up now and say thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hey, the parking lot's really full, so go ahead and take your time getting out. Don't rush. And if you could put away your chairs before you leave, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.